Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my What to Do channel. Today, we're not really doing a tutorial or anything like that. This is more or less along the lines of somebody who might want to be a small engine mechanic working on gas and diesel engines for turf equipment, construction equipment, establishments that have fleets of machines, and so forth. It's a little bit different if you're on the edge of, do you want to work on automobiles or do you want to work on smaller engines? And it all depends on your environment too. That the type of mindset that you have. I've worked at dealerships before, and it's a more slower paced atmosphere where you're given this car and you have 10 other mechanics in other bays and everybody's doing their job and you're doing that one vehicle at a time and just flipping over work orders. As a turf mechanic, it's a totally different atmosphere. I like to compare it as like, we can't really compare it, but to a hospital room on New Year's Eve, right? Now, I would imagine there's patients and people coming in like crazy, or on a Friday night, and doctors and nurses are just being pulled in a million different directions. And by the way, kudos to them. They're our heroes. Thumbs up to all the frontline workers. But as a turf mechanic, small engine mechanic for establishments that have fleets, you're going to be pulled in a million different directions. You're going to have your mindset the night before, the day before, the morning of, saying, all right, this is the machine I'm going to do today, or this is the machine I have to do today. And once you get in, your whole agenda is changed. You'll get that machine ready, and as soon as you grab your first wrench, somebody's already pulling you a different direction. Hey, I need you over here to fix this chain on this chainsaw to get this done. Hey, I'm over here. I am stuck in the woods with this machine. Or hey, over here, my battery's dead. Or can you help me do this? Help me do that. Help me do this. And it just gets really overwhelming sometimes. So you have to be able to keep your cool, just stay focused under pressure, and sometimes you have to be able to think clear and act fast. And when I say that, I mean you can't get too excited and aggravated too fast when you have something that needs to be figured out and your mind starts going, and you can't work like that. This machine has to be done. It's going to be back out within maybe an hour, and the whole thing is riding on your shoulders for you to figure this out and get it done. So you need to be able to stay calm and just think it through and get the job done. There are some cases where you can't, and the parts just need to be ordered or whatever, but it's challenging. The pay in it can be great. Majority of the times, it's not so great. On the upscale, I've seen establishments that I've been trying to get into that are as high as $40 an hour in some places. And then if you're just starting out, it's probably going to be around 18 to 19, $20 an hour if you're lucky, if you're just starting out. And then once you're in it for a couple years, I've seen $25, $26, $27 an hour. So, if you want to get on the upscale, it's you're going to have to work your way up. Now, I feel like I'm at that point to where I should be moving more towards the upscale, and I'm trying to do that. Trying to get a mortgage on a home right now, so I kind of really need to get up that ladder. But you got to think about the pros and the cons of the jobs. If you get mad too easy, or you can't work very fast sometimes, it's probably not the job for you. You might want to go to like an oil change place and just flip work orders and do oil changes all day and change filters and windshield washer fluid. And you're going to have to be able to have a strong back. You're going to have to be able to lift some really heavy stuff. Some of the things on these machines, these rail units, can be on the upside of 100 pounds, 125 pounds each, lifting them off, and there ain't nobody in the shop to help you. Depending on the establishment you're at, you're not going to have an assistant. So you're the one that's helping everybody else, but there's nobody helping you. Remember that. Now, there is some pros of it. There is some days where it's slow in the shop, and I praise those days because I'll take chances like this to make a video to help other people and educate other people. I just really enjoy doing that. Um, but yeah, if you're thinking about it as a career, would I do all this all over again? I don't know. I've been DJing and doing special events and weddings and stuff majority of my life, and editing and working on film projects and things like that. So I had to adjust years ago coming into this field, but I also like being creative and figuring out problems. So and I'm someone that can't sit still. I drink a lot of coffee. I always have coffee. So it was a good field for me because I like to be active. I can't sit in one place too long. So me bouncing around is good. It's just some days it's really challenging when I'm trying to get something done and they expect you to have something done, but yet you're being pulled in every direction. So those are just some of the key things to think about when you want this job. And it helps if you have a really cool boss. I've been lucky. I've been through 3 different bosses so far, and all of them have been pretty awesome. So I lucked out there, but I have talked to other guys in the field where they just have really horror of a nightmare bosses, and that makes the job even harder because he expects you to do these 9 things and throw one of your arms this direction to get that done at the same time. So, when you're going to your interview, maybe kind of feel out your boss too. I know they're interviewing you, but you should be interviewing him because let me tell you something. You got to be in that place. You're the first one in the morning. Sometimes, depending on the place, 3:30 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. It gets, you're tired when you get in. So the last thing you need is a crew coming in that has an attitude, and from the get-go, they're just miserable, and it really just brings your day down, and you're trying to, diagnose problems, and you can't think straight. So, make sure you're getting into a place that, and look up their reviews and stuff that is a good working atmosphere. The last thing you want to do is get up every day and hate going to your job, right? You got to get up and love your work, So I actually enjoy getting up. I look forward to coming to work because I do these videos. It's helping me, learn. I'm still learning a lot of things, but I enjoy it. I don't say, oh man, I got to go into this shit place again. I mean, there's some days where, people have attitudes and things where I just let it fly off because I'm like, all right, tomorrow it'll be different, but it's not really every day. If it ever got to that point, I would just leave because I'm not going to go somewhere every day where I'm not happy. But it is a fun job if you like solving problems, and you pretty much have the shop to yourself for the most part. People will be coming in and out with problems, and you just have to deal with it. You can always ask for raises. I try to always push my limits. I try to get a raise, if I can, every year. Sometimes on that 6-month mark, if you're doing a great job, you can get a raise. But the whole purpose of the video was, do you really want to do this, and some of the pros and cons. And it's all going to come down to you're either a hustler or you're not. This field, you're hustling. If you're not a hustler and you're a late starter and you hang out late at night, then go to a dealer and flip work orders or whatever. So these are all things you want to take into consideration when you're applying for a job, because the ad will say, looking for a mechanic to fix machines. But it's not just that. There's a lot more to it than that. And also, I don't know how, if you're educated on machines or not, but depending on the type of machines they have, some machines just aren't designed with the mechanic in mind. If they have a whole fleet of Jacobsen stuff, Jacobsen is double everything. So if you're going to change a reel on a Jacobsen, it's going to take you 3 times the amount of time as if you were changing one on a Toro. If you're going to sharpen a reel or a bed knife on a Jacobsen, it's going to take you 3 times the amount of time. If you're going to do a hydraulic pump, no matter what you're going to do with a Jacobsen, it takes 3 times the amount of time because Jacobsen is just not mechanically designed for mechanics. Another thing you can ask is, how old is the machines? Depending on how old they are, pretty much is going to give you an idea of how much service is going to need to be done. Ask them why the last mechanic was fired and maybe what they didn't like about him. It'll give you an idea of how they operate there, and find out, if their reply is, well, he wasn't really doing the jobs properly, a lot of the machines were being rigged up, things were just breaking down all the time or whatever. It kind of gives you an idea that you're going to be walking into a mess. You got a lot of stuff to clean up. Certainly if they're older machines, you're going to have your work cut out for you the whole season trying to maintain them. And another thing also, if you're the kind of person that takes days off all the time or is always late, you're going to find yourself probably fired a lot or with a very unhappy boss because, again, you're the one that's helping everybody else. There's nobody to help you. So for you to take a day off, the whole place, if something goes wrong, just kind of falls apart and the work would back up unbelievable. So it's very, very hard to get a break in. And typically in this line of work, you can only break in the winter. And even then it's hard because the winter is when now you have the chance to service all the machines without any obstructions and nobody bothering you, to get them all the oils changed, get all the blades or reels sharpened, hydraulic filters changed, whatever. The winter is your whole time to catch up. You got a good 3 months, but even then that goes fast because you have a lot of machines to do. So even taking off in the winter is a little difficult, but if you're going to take off, you probably are going to have to do it in the very, very beginning of the winter. Get your vacation done, get back, and then you have the rest of the time, because you're not going to be able to do it at the tail end of the winter, because that's when everybody's panicking, going, oh my goodness, we're going to be using these machines in about 2 weeks. The weather's going to start getting nicer. So you got to do it in the beginning. So that's another thing. If you're lazy, not the job for you. Not going to work. If you're the kind of person that needs a pat on the back or a smiley sticker for every job that you do, and look, it feels good to be appreciated, when you do hard work or whatever. But in this particular line of work, unless you have a boss that's really open like that will give you that pat on the back and say, hey man, you're doing an awesome job, you're not going to get it. You are the unsung hero, okay? So you are the most important person next to, obviously, your immediate boss, or if you're at a course, your superintendent. You're the most important, but you're the least appreciated, if that makes sense. And I'll give you an example. I was at a different place prior to this, and same thing. You're busting your butt all day to keep everything going, keep the guys going, and then every morning you hear, and at the end of every day, you hear the boss going to the guys saying, hey man, you guys are doing a great job. Everybody's saying things look awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Keep it up. And then he'll walk right by you. And it's like, well, hey man, what about me? So I just learned to deal with it, and I feel like I just keep doing what I do best, and as long as I have my paycheck there in my account every week and I'm not being screamed at by somebody during the day, then I'm fine. But definitely not the job if you're someone that is looking for a pat on the back. Nobody really sees exactly what you do in your job. Certainly when you're in a big fleet and you're detached away from your main corporate office or, wherever the main building may be, they don't see what goes on back there. And a lot of times, your immediate boss, who does work back there with you, he's out doing other stuff. A lot of times he doesn't see how much you do, because throughout the course of the day, you'll have guys pulling you in a million different directions. Your boss will give you a job and say, hey, I really need to get this machine done for the next day or whatever. And then he'll forget that he gave you that job. And then in the morning, you're pulled to 40 other jobs. And then they'll say, hey, what about this machine I told you to get ready? But they forget that they gave you 40 other jobs to do, or there was 40 other jobs that had to be done. So your work builds up really fast, and before you know it, you have 10 machines that need things done to them. and it looks bad on you because they're saying, hey, is this done, is this done, is this done? But what they don't remember is, well, hey, I had to go pull this person out of here, or I had to go clean up this after this person, or I had to go take care of this because this happened, or people up at the main shop came down. It's a very fast-paced environment, and you have to really learn to bite your lip and deal with things and just try to go with the flow if you want to work in this type of atmosphere. Make sure you have very clean nails when you go home every day, because you will be covered in grease and oil, and you're always going to smell like it. So you got to have a girlfriend, fiance, wife, somebody that's just going to deal with that. That's it, man. Good luck at your interview, and ask the right questions. Make sure you take a look at all the equipment, walk through the fleet, look at everything, and before you make a decision to hop into there. If there's anybody else that's working there, if you have an opportunity to talk to them outside of your interview and ask them, hey, what's it like here? How was the old mechanic? How do things run? What's it like on a daily basis? Just get some ideas for the job, because if you get into the wrong garage, you're going to have a wake-up call, and you're going to be stressed every day. If you need a breakdown of pretty much what a turf mechanic's going to do all day long, I did another video. It's probably about 50 videos back on the daily process of what you're going to have to do. If you have any other questions or whatever, hit me up on my email. It's actually idrinkcoffeeallday@gmail.com. And I'd love to give you tips or anything, or if you want to see a video done on something, let me know. Give me a subscribe below, please. Give me a like. I do tutorials on machines daily, so if you get your job, make sure you come back to my channel and you watch some of my tutorials, because it'll teach you a lot of stuff. All right, see you next time.